guys, I'm Dan.
And I'm Kevin Levy.
And we're the Board Game Rundown. And actually, I just met you in the hall. We were just walking with Reed Mascola, and we ran into you, and we started talking about your product. And I was not only impressed with the ideas that you put into this game, but also I just got to say, not trying to pander here, but I just thought you were such a kind person, and that matters to me so much when I meet people.
Thank you so much.
So I just kind of wanted to talk to you about what you got here, and we'll say, right, so Red Rainfall, right? Right here. And so if you want to kind of go into a basic description of what your idea for this game is, you can talk about the world and the mechanics, whatever you want to talk about. And then I'm going to have maybe some questions for you in the industry part. Nothing crazy, nothing in depth. I just pulled you off the side of the street, but I want you to I want other people to hear about this, and I know that you're kind of fishing around right now too. So let's talk about this game,
Yep, I'm an unpublished artist right now. Red Rainfall is my first game I've designed for 2 years now, since February of 2021. So going right into that pandemic, had plenty to keep myself busy with.
Yep.
Red Rainfall is the story of the last days of Mars. 4 billion years ago, your giant airborne cities are trying to suck up the last water to use as reaction mass to escape before the moon Hellas falls. Hopefully you'll get to Earth, but the story kind of leaves that
right
a little undefined.
Open-ended.
There's a little story in it, and the narrative will let you dive in as much as you want, but not necessary for the gameplay. I wanted something that is highly approachable for everyone, but yet still kind of a combat take that mechanic that I personally love.
Right.
Definitely no player elimination though, so that everyone's still in the game all the way until the end. That final round it can still be a question mark. So we've got water tokens that take up spaces on the board initially, and we all would start in equidistant locations away from each other. And around the edge of the board, we'd place all these action cards called tech cards, and they represent the orbital supply depots around the planet. And this arc on here functionally is our market, and it allows us to purchase new tech cards throughout the game that we add to our tableaus. On the market, you can see there's prices, and the prices are all in water. Water is everything in this game. It's your currency. It's also your fuel for all your thrusters. You can move a little extra if you add a little water to it. And then finally, it's your victory condition. Whoever has the most water wins.
Right. So it's your victory condition and your currency you're spending throughout the entire game. So at some point you're like, man, is it really worth it to move that extra space right now? Because I'm literally giving up a victory point, or however that ratio works out in the end, so yeah, that kind of decision making is what's going to go into here, right? Then
I'll just hand you a couple cards here to start with. Oop. But there's all sorts of there's about 15 different unique cards in this game that allow you to either take water from the map or from your friends with the weapons, or maybe just destroy them on the map or your friends.
Sure.
And
as
then,
one does.
And then you can also move around the map. But these weapons also allow you to either destroy or take the cards themselves. The action selection system is fully destructible.
Okay.
So I can take your thruster, use it for myself.
Right.
And then you can't move. But maybe you don't want to buy another thruster. Maybe you just buy longer range drills.
Right.
And that way you don't need
I'm fine sitting right here.
Right? Or maybe you get vindictive and you buy the nuke instead.
Oh boy.
Because I'm just hugged up next to you. And there's some special cards, and I'll just highlight one of them. It is the Hack Thrusters card. It allows you to activate your opponent's thruster against their will and move them at their expense.
Nice.
Right?
Okay. So it costs their water, you're saying, to
And that
to
can be
move
like,
that.
you're going over there away from me, next to some new friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
who are
get
very
over
well
here.
armed. Yeah, strangely enough. Yeah, so this is the gather water from a longer range that you were talking about, right?
Exactly. Collect one water, 1 to 2 spaces away in a nice symbol system that I've put on all the different cards. Yep.
So how many cards can you have? I see these 6 slots on the player board here. So.
Exactly. So on the tableau, we place our cards during the gameplay in these slots. And when you use them, just to remember that you've used them, you slide them up so the word used is exposed.
Oh, gotcha.
End of your turn, they all reset.
Okay.
And there's a clever little mechanic here. Let me see if I can get 2 that work. 2 thrusters, in fact.
Hey.
They've got a linking symbol. These 2 are aligned. You can freely rearrange your cards on this tableau of 6 spaces at any time, only ever having 6 cards. But if you have 2 that have the link that is aligned, you can use them as a single action, so a combo action. After that, the cards flip over, and the links are broken for the rest, but you may use the cards individually.
Oh, yeah, because the game, you said, relies on this action economy system. So saying, oh, I can use the ability of two thrusters in one action is a way to manipulate that action economy, is what you're saying then, yeah.
Absolutely. And each of the factions has one of two different special abilities you'll choose at the beginning.
Okay.
And they all are equivalent to one extra action per game. In fact, that is literally what one of them is, the corporate cartel. But other ones, like the Queen's Heir, will let you do special things. So in this game, there's ice. And as an action, you can freeze one of your water on your tableau. It's protected. It can't be destroyed or stolen. But it also can't be spent.
Right.
But it counts towards your ending victory
right.
condition.
You have locked in endgame points, right?
Well, that brings me to the Queen. The Queen believes that rules are for peasants, and all of her weapons affect ice as if it affect water. Sorry, they affect ice as if it were water.
Gotcha.
So there's that. And there's a
So-
variety of other different abilities to choose from. So it's always different, and the cards always come out in a different order.
Right.
So if we've got nukes early on or the deep drills early on, it very much changes the strategy you need to approach your opponents with.
Right, and the cards coming out in a different order kind of leads us to this thing, right? Because this thing's going to be moving around the board, and this selects which cards are available from the market, I assume, right?
That's right. At the end of your turn, once you've taken your 3 actions on your turn, you slide it 1 space or however far it takes to get the free slot open to another card.
Okay, sure. I've seen that kind of. Okay, I like that kind of thing where it's almost the players are deciding how far this market's going to slide, right? There was a Planet X or something, had something where the sun rotates according to how many players are there.
I love a good rotating board.
yeah, I love a good round board. Planet X, by the way. We were talking about round boards earlier.
Yep.
And I love a good and I love a good rotation. And when you get that tactile stuff, it's one of the reasons I play board games. You know, that tactile feeling of moving the stuff around. Like Tabletop Simulator, I was just talking to someone else, right? It's fun. I like it. I like playing games. But there is nothing like the feeling of me moving my army into your space with my hand. You know?
I so wish that virtual reality and Tabletop Simulator worked like the rest of that thing works. It's like they stopped developing it right after the first iteration. And
yeah.
I think it could be great someday.
Yeah, we'll get there. I think we'll get there eventually. So I have to ask this. This is unrelated, but
Sure.
Are you a fan of Dune?
Yes, I played Dune Imperium.
Okay, I was just wondering about the world of Dune. Not even because there's like similar mechanics, but literally just because, you know, this desert planet where we're harvesting water and it's our currency. And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, Dune is a great book. I wonder how much of a fan you are, because that's all I'm thinking.
I've read the first few chapters and I've watched the movie. I'm not very deep into it, but I do absolutely love that setting.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering. I was looking at this.
I get inspired instead by just some random Martian geology. I was looking into like what Starship's doing and found that, hey, where's Olympus Mons? That's big. And where's the largest crater on Mars? Oh, it's exactly polar opposite. Why are we talking about this?
Yeah,
that's weird.
Well, that leads me into one of the questions I was going to ask, which was, so I assume from what you just said then that the theming in the world came first. You were like, man, I really want to build something in this universe, and then the mechanics came afterwards? Or did you want to build a fighting, you know, grid game, and then you were like, oh, and this Mars thing I'm interested in fits, you know, like, so which one came first for you?
It's a little vague for me because two things happened very quickly. Finding those Martian facts and the story practically wrote itself. I was really inspired. But at the same time, I watched the movie Mortal Engines and I was like, this needs to be a board game. We need massive cities moving around, beating the crud out of each other. Yeah. And I played giant killer robots before. I want to give them credit for a destructible action system was neat to me. But I didn't want to play for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just to know that after 2 hours, I was already going to lose.
Right. Especially dependent on player count. When you get into games like that, you can get into a like this isn't supposed to be a team game and it became one, right? Like that, you get that a lot. So, oh, it's a 3-player game, we're all fighting each other, and now all of a sudden you're weak. Hey, how about we just team up and take this guy down? And that can feel bad. So I know, obviously, you know, unpublished. I don't know how close to how finished you feel that your baby is inside your head, right? Are you like, man, I'm 80% there, or are you like, I'm really confident with this, or are you like, man, I come up with a new idea every day, you know, because that can really change things.
For the 4th time in the development of this game, I'll say, yeah, I feel absolutely finished.
Okay, good. So I'll talk to you next week about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're like, man, I'm starting from scratch.
30 playtests ago, I made this board round.
Oh, nice.
That's how new that is.
Okay.
But I'm at playtest 191 as of yesterday.
Okay, man.
So I'm pitching to publishers, hoping to find someone that can do the rest of the job that is the massive part of this industry is marketing, production, and then like running Kickstarter or getting it on shelves and fulfillment. Those are huge things. Graphic design and illustration. I'm an amateur. I'll be upfront. This was AI art that I only mean for a placeholder. I will never use it for finished. But lets me get my concept out there so that people can see what I was imagining. Initially, at least.
No, yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, I've messed around for years in Photoshop and stuff like that, right? And
Same.
if I'm trying to publish a game, right, I've got some ideas in my head. I'm working on some stuff, but if I'm going to publish a game, my Photoshop skills ain't going to do it. But I'll get you the basic idea of what I want, you know, like, oh, this card. So I want 2 different layers on the card, you know, so there's a black line going across the center and there's a top half and a bottom half, right? Like, I'll get that point across, but I do not want them to look like this in my game, you know? So I'm fascinated with this idea of, again, I'm a big fan of Dune. So when I was seeing this explained, I was just like, oh man, bring it on. I love this water economy, this action, this tableau building system that you're going on. I didn't even know about the linked cards till this video. We didn't, because we just talked in the hallway, you know? Right. So we didn't go through every mechanic.
Here's all my cards.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you. Let me slowly read every single one and figure out how this goes. So seeing that, man, I really like a lot of stuff. And I hope the best for you. I just enjoyed talking to you about your product so much and seeing their passion just bleed into their work, you know, is something that means a lot to me in this industry of, you know, you see a game and you're just like, yeah, okay, I can see why they made that, but it's either the theme is pasted on or it's like, oh, this game used to be something else and then they just decided to do this because it was easier or something, right? And to see someone just like really sink themselves into this and just the way you explained it to me, I was just like, man, can we come talk about this? Because I hope that you guys picked up on that too, just the way he talked about it. I was really happy with this. So I don't want to drag this video out too much because hopefully I want to talk about it more once we've had a chance to really sit down and play it, you know, however long that takes. I don't care if it's tomorrow. I don't care if it's in 6 months when, you know, you have a free time on Tabletop Simulator or something, you know. I'd really like to talk more about this with more knowledge under my belt, right?
Fantastic.
And see what you've changed by then.
Red Rainfall is available on Facebook. You can find the links there for my Tabletop Simulator. It is free on there for anyone that has Tabletop Simulator.
Right.
Please take a look at it and look for any new developments. If I get published, that'll be the first place I post it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kevin, for your time. I hope you enjoyed talking about it.
Thank you so much for bringing me here.
No, of course. I thoroughly enjoyed this process that we have here. But
Same.
So from the Board Game Rundown, guys, I've been Dan.
I'm Kevin.
I was seeing how long you would take to catch on to me pointing at you. You know, good job. You passed the test this time. And check it out, guys, if you want. And we'd really appreciate anything that you guys can help us out with. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.